So for me, my view is prenuptial agreements. So I'm an African man. It's very untraditional. It's very un-African.
When you get married in Africa, Africa is a man's world. So even if you get divorced, a woman is not getting anything at all from that. Really and truly, if we're looking at the way Africa works, works. In Africa is a man's world. So prenup back in the days in Africa, now I don't think it's a big thing. It's not something we get into. So prenup is mainly predominantly around the Western world.
I believe it was not too sure about it why. Because before you ask your mom to keep your things, because 3 weeks after the relationship, we heard they saw the boy with another man. So I believe personally that what they did, because if you're not sure the person you're married to, so that's where the nuptial agreement is very, very important.
I disagree with that. It's not about being sure. You have to be sure who you're married to. If you don't trust them, why are you going to start?
Yep. So for me, we started getting these things wrong when MTV was introduced in Nigeria and Timbaland became an issue. We got carried away with stuff that didn't concern us, right? The fact of the matter is you fall in love and you fall in love. The last thing you want to think when you're forming a relationship is, this is my own, this is your own. It is a betrayal of the oath that you're taking. I'm old school, and the fact of the matter is, to sign a prenup, even at our level, as poor civil servants, whatever we are, it costs you between 2,000 and 5,000 pounds. When you're looking to pay for your wedding and you're scraping every money that you have, if it's important that you're hiding 5,000 in order to go to a lawyer to sign a prenup, then don't bother marrying.
Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to the maiden edition of Oloye Rendezvous, a program discussing topical issues, lifestyle, sport, and entertainment, exploring the perspective of our panelists and working to offer solutions to these challenges. But before we dive into today's program, it is important I introduce my esteemed guest panelists. On my left, Ms. Victoria Adeleke, a senior administrator with REITs UK. Next to her is Mr. Von Edome, government relationship specialist. All on my right is Chief Dr. Onyeka Tunko, an IT consultant. Thank you all for coming to this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay. Prenup. So this topic is prenup. Once upon a time, we thought prenup only for the rich and famous amongst us, but it's increasingly common amongst us today. So what is prenup? Prenup is an agreement made by a couple before they get married concerning the ownership of their properties, or agreement entered by two people after they divorce can be resolved. So what do people think? Is prenuptial agreement a premise for this talk before couple says yes, I do? What is your thought? I start with Miss Victoria Adeleke.
Thank you very much for inviting me here today. I'm really happy to be here. So in terms of prenup, I think it's something that people used to do in those days, especially when they have inheritance, when they come from a rich family, especially the men. Their family wants them to make sure that the wife they are married is not taking away any of their properties. So they always make sure they have an agreement of what the wife would take if she leaves or if the man leaves. Nowadays, people don't say it as something that they should do because of course they believe in love and they feel like, because I love this man or because I love this woman, I have to hide anything or I want to share everything with them so they don't prenup, which I think was a big mistake for them.
Okay, Mr. Edome, can you add something? Then of us.
So for me, my view is prenuptial agreements. So I'm an African man. It's very untraditional. It's very un-African, right? That concept of we marry twice. So we have a traditional wedding and we have a white wedding, so to say, or a Muslim wedding. Now, when you have a traditional wedding, all the elders from the community are sat under. And the last thing I expect as a discussion is a concept that what is mine, what is yours, right? It means if we go down the basics, we're now splitting our children. We're now splitting everything that we have. So for me, it's a foreign concept. It's a Hollywood concept. It's not.
But you live in the UK.
It makes no difference. I married my wife and I did not have a prenup agreement. It did not even cross my mind. So I'm old school. I was born in the 60s. I'm generation, I'm a baby boomer, right? It never. So for me, we started getting these things wrong when MTV was introduced in Nigeria and Timbaland became an issue. We got carried away with stuff that didn't concern us, right? The fact of the matter is you fall in love and you fall in love. The last thing you want to think when you're forming a relationship is, this is my own, this is your own. It is a betrayal of the oath that you're taking. I'm old school, and the fact of the matter is, to sign a prenup, even at our level, as poor civil servants, whatever we are, it costs you between 2,000 and 5,000 pounds. When you're looking to pay for your wedding and you're scraping every money that you have, if it's important that you're hiding 5,000 in order to go to a lawyer to sign a prenup, then don't bother marry. There is no point. Unfortunately, what we have is our morality has changed, right? We come from a situation where hookup is now the issue.
We come to that. We can add something to it before, because I know you're really ready. You did a lot to say.
Thanks a lot. Before I start, thanks a lot for inviting me. Just to correct you, I'm not a doctor. I know. So, for me, you're kind of following on to what one has said. Yeah, prenup originally, I don't think it's an African thing to require, because really and truly, when you get married in Africa, Africa is a man's world. So even if you get divorced, a woman is not getting anything at all from that. Really and truly, if we're looking at the way Africa works, Africa is a man's world. So prenup back in the days in Africa, now I don't think it's a big thing. It's not something we get into. So prenup is mainly predominantly around the Western world. So let's just clarify that the prenup is not big in Africa at the moment.
No, I disagree with Nigeria now. Prenup is
possibly, but when we were growing up, prenup was not a big thing like us. It's still a man's world, no matter how you look at it. In Africa, but when the Western world is totally different, so maybe that's where we talk about prenup. And then also looking at it, when we got married, when I got married to my wife, in fact, tomorrow is our 24th wedding anniversary.
Welcome.
We both started from scratch. We didn't have anything. So what were we deciding to prenup for? We were both struggling, putting money together to get married. So I think prenup is mainly for maybe people from a wealthy background where you're inheriting a lot of money from your parents, or maybe you're getting married at a later age, or your second marriage. For those, being your second marriage, I'll probably say yes. You've learned from experience. Maybe your divorce costs a lot of money, and then get into the second round of your marriage, you're now looking to sign a prenup. And then let's also get it straight: the prenup is not just the men, women as well. So if you're getting married to a wealthy woman, you as a man, you want to sign a prenup as well to ensure that if anything happens, you're also well looked after. So I think you look at prenup in different aspects. From an African point of view, it's not really a big thing. For living in the Western world, being a man or a woman, if you get married at a very young age, when you're trying to put money together to get married, what are you signing a prenup? When you guys have coming together, except someone has got a very bright future, and then the other person does not. But I think it's a very, very dicey and delicate matter to kind of have a clear yes or no, area to say. But it's It's not something you can straight away say yes or no.
Okay. The next question is, but why do people ask for prenup? The parental agreement, there must be a reason. So
from my experience, my first marriage, I was married to a white man, a Frenchman, and he wanted a prenup. At the time, I was very young. I had no clue what a prenup was. So I had to go to the registrar and ask them, what is this prenup? And they explained to me that whatever I bring to the table, that is this. Whatever I bring, that is mine. At the time, I was just working as a bilingual secretary. I didn't have much money. I know it's rich, fair enough. But I wasn't thinking about this money. But then when they told me what prenup meant, I was like, no way, I'm not doing that. What happens if you die now? Is your family going to come around and take everything? I would suffer for anything, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I don't want to be left with nothing, especially when we have children. So that's one of the reasons why, fair enough, prenup has to be there. Because that is what, the country where I was living there, in France. That is the agreement. That is what they work with. You must have a prenup when you marry. So,
before it comes to, don't you think it's distrust? Because you want to get married to this person, I know, I don't think you just enter this marriage because of money or whatever. Don't you think because of distrust, that's why people ask about prenup? Mr. I don't know, take it from there.
It is distrust. And for me, it's just morals. And the reality of the matter is just, I think, last week I saw a report about 80% of Nigerian children do not belong to the father. So, the reality of the matter is, as Onyeka said, I knew him and his wife when they started out.
Yeah.
They built to what they achieved. There was no concept of prenup. There was the belief that we're both building together.
Yeah.
So once you begin to put papers in, that relationship is built on sand and it will collapse because there is no trust. So prenup, I don't agree with it.
Well, but I agree, but you don't really answer why. Because your wife...
Why what?
Honey, before getting married.
Then the marriage won't happen.
You should ask yourself what's, the man just woke up one day and say, before we get married or get married, there must be something. Because if you see what's happening these days, like you said, the DNA man, don't you think that's it?
It is for you to ask for a prenuptial agreement. It means you're insecure in your relationship. It's as simple as that. You're not 100% confident in the person that you're tying the nuptials with.
It's just in as much as in terms of morality and how it looks, that prenup is not. It doesn't sound to be, but facing reality in the world we live in, at times it may be necessary for you to do that. In terms of we know, especially in the Western world, taking for example where women and their husband and wife relocate Japa syndrome from Nigeria coming to at a later age of life, where they've lived about 20 years of their life in Nigeria, where the cassette is a man's world, men dominate, and then they come to Europe and then find that it's entirely a different situation. So it is in terms of morality, but for our culture and all that, can say, oh no, we don't want prenup. But with the reality of life is that at times it may be necessary to have that prenup. So like I said, it's not a clear-cut thing to say yes or no. I think situations will determine if you go for a prenup.
Can I remind you of something that happened last year? Hakimi, the footballer, when the wife wanted bet, he put everything on the mom's neck.
Right.
Yeah. So what are you saying? You don't believe in prenup. Okay, look at Hakimi's situation. My friend, you have to be very like this.
Well, you're going to say, because when you look at prenup, it's not just about you and your wife or your husband. You have the family to think of. What happened, God forbid, if you die? And then you have the mother coming and saying, this belongs to my daughter or this belongs to my son. And take everything away, like what's what for? Without a prenup, it's different from a will, don't get me wrong. Having a will is not the same thing as having a prenup. It's two different things. If you have a prenup without a will, fair enough. If you have a will that's a prenup, that works as well. But when you have a prenup in place, that's supersede any other thing.
So this
That's the
person will
first
do.
thing. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's the first thing they will look at. And so, okay, what happened when you guys got married? What was the agreement?
Yeah.
And that way, nobody can come from any family to say, this belongs to my brother. Or this, or because you're my brother's wife, I can marry you now. So,
But you know what I think? Let me come to this man that doesn't believe in people. Akimi, I believe he was not too sure about his wife. Because before you ask your mom to keep your things, because 3 weeks after the relationship, we heard they saw the wife with another man. So I believe personally that what they did, you know, because if you're not sure the person you've been married to, so that's where prenuptial agreement is very, very important.
I disagree with that. It's not about being sure. You have to be sure who you're married to. If you don't trust them, why are you with them to start?
Yep.
No, but the thing you say you're sure. I think when you're getting married, you're all sure of the partners. But then as time go on, as time goes on, you tend to things happen. So that's I don't think everybody gets into a relationship or marriage without being sure of their partners. But things happen, life happens, and then like Hakimi is one you're talking about. He was a mid, he's a wealthy footballer. So I think in that instance, I think he's well within his right to sign a prenup or getting married. Because I went to
And he didn't tell the wife. That's what I want to do. I didn't know about it.
tell about how he should have signed a prenup whatever.
I think so. I don't know.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
You can't sign a prenup.
But how come they said the wife? Like mom and everything.
No, it's just do with the will, not the prenup.
Maybe
Okay, got to do with the way because every
but he didn't die, so how?
I don't know that, but everybody became a big joke. And you said they're not going to be.
He can put all his wealth in trust to his mom.
Mom, I think that was it.
Especially when it comes to tax, mind you. When you think about tax, he has to pay much tax because if you follow with all the things that in the
His mother's name.
the mother pays less tax. So these are the things you have to
Okay,
consider.
but I had the wife on suck my dad and the actually.
Yeah, I think in his case, I think there's a lot more to it than just the relationship with the wife anyway. But yeah, it was.
Okay, the wife now, you and your wife. If will you do it now without agreement? You are there.
Getting married to my wife now.
Now, after 20 years or 24 years, if you
Well, I think
will you
I don't think that's a realistic question because I already know my wife, I know her character, and I know like we've been together for 24 years. So obviously I would say no. So I don't think that's a fair question to ask.
So can I ask you a question then?
Yes.
well,
Let's say God forbid something happened and then somebody turned up from nowhere and said, yeah, your mom, everything belongs to you.
But my mom.
Yeah, I'm just saying, let's say your mom comes, God forbid something happened,
Yeah.
and your mom comes and says, oh, this belongs to my son, wife, bye-bye. What happened in that case? I don't have the will, mind you.
If I'm still alive.
No, if you're gone.
Oh, sorry. Okay, and then but that's if I sign a prenup. I will have no.
If you don't have
If you don't have a prenup and a will.
And then something happens to you, and then your mom. Well, why would the mom? They automatically all the property goes to your wife, not to your mom.
And
not
children.
tradition in Nigeria.
in Nigeria.
I don't.
Oh, it's talking about Nigeria.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
But I know in England now.
Yes. Well, exactly. It's a very difficult solution. That's why I keep saying that it's a mad world. So I think in Nigeria, it depends on if you two are starting up, you're quite young. I think prenup is the last thing that comes to your mind because you both are trying to raise money for your wedding. So prenup is the very last thing. But I think once you get to that stage where you both established, I think you need to put things in place. Either you put your children as trustees or something so that God forbid anything happens to any of you,
Yes.
the children are well looked after. So now, like I said, keep saying it's a man in Nigeria. Your family, the man's family, they come into force and they try to take over. And then if the woman is not from a very solid or big family, she tends to lose out. So I think once you get to that stage where you guys are established, I think it's very, very necessary to put things in place.
Mr. Dominic,
What do you think?
I am very, very, very anti-prenup. For me, it's a generational thing, right? 30, 40, 50 years ago, us as Nigerians will never speak about prenup. In actual fact, even in this Western world, apart from Hollywood stars, there was nothing like prenup. And for me, if you decide at this age and time, maybe if I was a Premiership footballer, I will think about differently.
Your lawyers will talk to you.
If I'm going to marry a wag,
Exactly.
I will think about it different. But if I'm marrying somebody that we have grown through, as Onyeka said, we grew together, there is no need for a prenup. Anybody that asks me to do a prenup, we might as not get married because we are starting our relationship on the basis of distrust. So, gone.
I like that.
Yeah. Sorry, I see what you're saying, but take for instance, Bezos, the Amazon, the
Jeff Bezos.
I think he recently got married. I don't know if he signed the treaty.
Second wife.
Second wife, exactly. When did he divorce his first wife? He kind of, I think she
got lots of money.
Because she was well entitled to it. And then now he's very well established. I mean, getting into that second marriage, do you think, I don't know who she got married. I don't know how well she is.
They had a lavish wedding in Benny.
I don't know how wealthy she is, but if she's not wealthy as he is, do you not think it kind of makes sense for him to put something in place to say, well, this?
He has enough money to keep sharing. As long as he wants to marry.
I keep sharing.
As long as he wants to marry and is prepared to have a wedding in Venice for the rich and famous for a week, and the money he takes from mugs like us day in, day out, let us spread the money.
Don't forget, I understand why the first wife took a chunk of his share, because she built the business with him. But then this second wife, like I said, I'm just saying I've not done enough research to know what she's worth, and but she's not putting so much into this business. Is it not just I'm not supporting prenup, but is it not?
But then
to say let's sign something?
That is where love comes in, isn't it? Because you love somebody, you are prepared to give them everything. But the question is, are you ready to actually give them everything?
Because what you're telling me now is the concept of love, marriage, now becomes transaction.
No, but love,
it becomes
but you're saying that love is different. I know a few professional footballers who have been taken to the cleaners, especially African footballers, taken to the cleaners just because they didn't sign a prenup. Because they thought they fell in love. So love is as for but you still have to be wise.
They were thinking with the wrong part of the anatomy.
Well, you say that, but that's the thing. It's a very, very dicey and delicate matter. But I think, obviously, if you're in that position where you're wealthy, I think it's best to seek legal advice before proceeding.
Yorubas say, if you're not going to eat it, don't put it near your nose. It's very simple.
Because once you smell it,
you're done.
So, okay, right now, if your agreement, how would you react?
No, that's the end. That's the end of the relationship.
For you,
immediately.
And you?
I would agree.
Believe me, if I ask you, I say, I'm going to marry you, we should do this prenuptial agreement, and you disagree, then there's something. So what are you there because of the money?
Sign this. There's no way to look at it. But then you can also say, I believe you love me, sign this. But then you say, if you're not there for the money, sign.
I'm talking personally. Are you here? Sign the paper.
If you really love me,
I am happy for you to discuss my snoring, my leaving the socks on the floor,
but not your money.
My not helping you with the house chores. Those are the basics of any relationship. For you to start thinking, this guy has a £500,000 house, I have nothing, right? And then we want to start having a discussion about a prenup. Then we are starting our relationship based on falsehood. So just
but if she loves you, she said, I don't need your money. I'm just loving.
There is no point. There's no need having that discussion. For me as a man to ask somebody that I want to marry that I even think about you need to sign a prenup, it means I need to check my own judgment on the character of the person I'm following.
No, you shouldn't even how the person
It works both ways. So I see the point of view of not signing a prenup. I see the point of view of signing a prenup. So I'm seeing around the fence in this one.
So you're a bit
I'm in between, yes.
I am
You're not-
definitely prayer because I have a friend that called me a few weeks ago. She just got married in Sierra Leone to an Englishman. And when she came back, I asked her, "Did you get married in the UK?" She said no. They got married only in Sierra Leone. And I said, "Well, you're not married there." Because fair enough, they will take your Sierra Leonean certificate, but God forbid, if anything happens to that man here, all the properties is going to the family. Because the family will tell you they are not there when you guys get married.
Yeah.
But if she get married to God promise.
No, it's not. No, she's gone married as well. She's gone. But the question is this: when you are with somebody, you believe everything they want.
Yeah.
You want is for both of you. Do you want a third party to come in and say, "You know what? The man is done. Everything belongs to me." You don't want that. No matter how rich you are, that's the funniest thing. Even if you are richer than your husband, you still want what belongs to your husband.
I think that's that sense of injustice that, you guys are together. Once your husband is yours. And for someone, a third party coming in from nowhere, say, well, you're not entitled to this. I think that's, okay.
So I have a will, right? I'm 4 years older than my wife. And my wife is the first beneficiary of everything that I own. Next to my wife is my children. I don't think about it like she's inheriting what doesn't belong to her. We both built
You guys got it. I know you guys.
We both built it together. So for me, that is the last thing that I want to think about. I have my daughter who's 18 keep asking me, "Are you going to leave this house for me?" Or I'm my brother.
You should get mentality.
Yeah. And I say to her, no. When I retire, I'm not going to live in this country. And I'm going to sell the house and take the money for me and your mom to move out. What I can do for you is I can help you towards a deposit for your own house. Nobody gave me that. So at the end of the day, maybe I'm lucky, right? But that prenup business.
But let me ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind. So let's say you guys go back to Nigeria.
I will never go to Nigeria.
Somebody just said it yesterday that he will never go back.
I will never go back.
You want to say
I'll be near enough
Morocco
to get into Nigeria in an hour.
Settle in
To settle in Nigeria, no, definitely never.
Because then you have a problem. Because if you go back home, you have a house back home.
No, I've sold it. I've sold my property in Lagos.
You don't want any lease.
I've sold my property in Lagos last year. The money is in the bank. Yeah.
So, like,
I'm thinking that's a good one. But my final thought, I think it's very simple. Sign his prenup and the woman refuses at the end of the day.
Why would a man ask a woman to sign a prenup?
If you don't, what I'm trying to say is that if you're not there for the money or the property, why not?
No. That it is a very wrong. It is a very wrong place to come from. You cannot say you love a woman, you want to marry her, you want her to have your children, unless the law states that should never, ever, ever cross your mind. You're starting your marriage and your relationship on a bad level.
Go ahead.
but mind you, sir, when we are talking about prenups, the different types of prenups,
Okay.
what are you signing for? Are you signing to say what I bring here belongs to you and me? Or what I'm bringing belongs to just me? So we have to look at that.
Whichever one. At the end of the day, what do they say when you do your vows? For better, for worse. And what's that? What God has put together. Right. If you now
Those-
see, that's why I said to you. That's what I said. That's what I said to you is a generational thing. Your parents and my parents did not even know what prenup was, talk less of signing it. 30, 35 years ago, we did not really know what this is a Gen Z bullshit. Mind my friend, sorry.
No problem.
Right? The fact of the matter that I have been dating you. This man and his wife dated themselves till they got married. That I have been dating you, and we think we are now at a stage where we want to form a life together. Then all of a sudden I wake up in the middle of the night and prenup becomes an issue. It's a fraud because I've been with you through thick and thin. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years. Then all of a sudden I want to put a ring in your finger and you tell me I have to sign a piece of
Why
paper.
don't you ask yourself, why? You might just walk up. I don't know. I've been something that, you know what I mean?
I don't.
This is just somewhere.
No. What if the man is protecting you? That's the thing. What if he's protecting you? What if he knows the kind of family he comes from?
Then write a will. Write a will. That's what a will is.
How can a prenup protect the woman? Is that why you're saying the kind of prenup is signed?
Yeah, it depends.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So write a will.
Says everything we have is put to God.
Well, that's more like a will, then, isn't it?
That is a will. So if I'm happy to sign that kind of prenup. In communities where women are deprived
Yes.
of their husband's property,
Yes.
if you say to me, please, you know your community,
Yes.
where your brother says, if I die, he will marry me, and every property you have will inherit. If I love you, that is a prenup. If there's a prenup like that,
Yes.
I'll be the first to sign it.
Thank you very, very much for this topic. You know, it's really
You're welcome.
very important. Okay, we go to the second topic.
Oh dear.
We still have time, you know. To the second topic. Smacking. You know, the Bible says to spare the rod as well the child. Smacking the way of children. Is it discipline or an abuse? Smacking, discipline or abuse? What do you think? Go first.
So you're starting with me.
Yes, because you are going for the water. I like this smell. Maybe for the water.
So it depends. We're in the UK now.
Okay.
I grew up in Africa,
I grew up in Africa.
where they send you to go shopping, go and buy bread, go and buy something, and you see your friends playing football, and you join them. Not for 5 minutes. The next thing, they are playing football 2 hours.
And they said you to go back.
Yes, that they need to cook. So
That one is smart.
once you are over 10 minutes, you are late, and you're lucky if you don't lose the money that they gave you. So you just make up your mind that, you know what, I would rather enjoy this ball with my friends, and I know when I get home, my koboko is coming out. I grew up in the barracks.
No.
My mom was an army officer, and she had 4 boys, and we all had our own koboko, right?
Especially me.
If you break the rule of a house, you go and bring your koboko. My mother was a single mom, and she will whip you till you cry and kata come out for your nose. It was the accepted norm.
Now the question is it an abuse? Oh,
But I'm trying to come because I'm sitting down in a UK place.
okay.
Because in this country, smacking is not explicitly illegal
Yeah.
in this country. But it is unlawful if it constitutes reasonable punishment under the Children Act 2004. What goes for England is illegal in Scotland and Wales, in UK and Ireland. So yes, in England, you can smack your child. What becomes an abuse is when they have a scratch or a bruise, and you, as a father, as a parent, can be prosecuted for it. So The reality of the matter is, I have 3 children. I have never, yes, I have banked them like this, but I have never had to take out my belt or wire or koboko, which we all went through. And I have a lot of Nigerian friends in this country, born in this country, grew up in Nigeria. For some of them, it damaged them. For some of them, they will never go back to Nigeria and they would not take their children because for them, it was trauma. For me, it was normal. You break the law of your parents' house, you chop the punishment. Yes. So maybe I was strong enough and resilient enough to be able to understand that that is life. Transfers to here. Where do you draw the line? In this country, if you bring out koboko, belts, or wire for your children, police are taking you out or social services are taking your children. So we have to manage our kids according to the rules. My children, even from my oldest, from he was growing up from age 1, all I have to do is tell him, stop. If he doesn't stop, my voice raises louder. By the time I shout, they are crying. And my message is true. So smacking for me, no.
Simpson has. I don't believe smacking children. I go for pockets. And I remember the first one is a boy. He didn't give me any trouble, so they're very calm, just like him. But the second one, Jesus, she
A girl.
She was something else. She was as stubborn as us. And
As yourself.
The government is supposed to come. You are just in
it took me a while to understand that in this country you have to speak to your child for them to understand. So we came from Nigeria to the UK 25 years, and back home then, everybody's smacking.
Even your neighbors are smacking you.
Because
It takes the community village to bring up a child.
Yeah. So when we came here, my husband said, listen, you're in the UK now, they don't beat children, except want to go to jail. And it took me a while to kind of figure it out, because my daughter would come home and say, this girl told me that the mom beat her. And I'm like, why is the girl telling you the mom beat her? So I'm thinking myself, if I beat you, you're telling me if I beat you, you're going to. So it took me a while, I won't lie to you. It took me a while to figure out that you need to talk to your child. Because I was dating, trust me, I was dating. I still have some marks on my body that shows for it, because I was stubborn. I was one of those kids that when they tell you sit down there, I said yes. But turn around and go. I won't do it.
I grew up in Nigeria. Somebody trust me, I think 5 years ago, up till now. Jesus is taking very much. Even my adult age, I saw the man. So for personally, people think I'm very a big discipline. He put that people will say yes, you need to communicate with your children, you need to talk to them. They say Africa is fear, they put that they don't like that. That's what some people. Oprah Winfrey said she likes the way they treat the African people train their only eyes.
You conform.
You conform when they say. But when you get home, even if they call you to come and eat, you love to eat. Oh, come and eat now. I'm okay. I'm okay.
You look like
you get home, you just have to control. So I believe that discipline. People say it's not. Some people will disagree with me, but I believe it's discipline, because children of these days, especially abroad here, they don't do the same. If you charge them, they want to go and call police. So I believe, I'm talking about personally, it's discipline to a certain extent.
I always tell parents that everything begins when you have them, when you are carrying them as a child. If you are feeding them, and the baby bites you and you're like, stop. you start from there. You don't wait till they are 3 years old or 4 years old before you start telling them, don't. That time is too late. When they are crawling and they want to grab something and you say, stop. They know your tone. They know which one is stop.
Which one is stop?
And then they will listen to you. If you can start from there, honestly, you can't go wrong with your kids. It's just simple as it is.
Mr. Toku, what do you have to say to action?
He has an army in his house.
So you discipline them by smacking.
Oh yeah, that discipline material, but not smacking. I think when you say sparing the rod, spoiling each other. Yeah, it is. Discipline does not necessarily mean smacking. I went to boarding school in Nigeria, and trust me, I know smacking, and my parents disciplined us a lot as well. But even I keep saying to people, my dad was in the army, a strict disciplinarian. But still, then we did what other people did. But just that we had to ensure that he tried not to,
You coded it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The beating did not make you never right? We all knew because of the upbringing we had. We knew what but the main things like going out to shop, stealing, and all those things, we didn't do all those things. But then, what the normal, delinquency was
Smoking, drinking, indoctrinated alcohol.
I don't think smacking makes any difference. What it does it puts the fear of God in you. Just saying that when we, a lot of my generation, when we came to the United Kingdom, we were very timid. Very, very timid in terms of you're not able to speak up, out, and because
you have been conditioned.
Exactly, you have seen a lot in the air.
Yeah.
So you feel that when you're speaking up, you think you're overstepping the bounds.
Yeah.
But this is my children. I take away their phones from them. I take away liberties and things like that, just to make them know that there are repercussions for things. So I mean, bringing up children is more like what you do, what they see you do, and then enforcing that as well. Because a lot of times you say, don't do this, and then do it. There's no repercussion. So you have to make sure that there's a repercussion to what it doesn't have to be pizza. Denying them of pleasures, every now and again, things to do. At times, you can switch off the
internet. Yeah.
Sorry, let me come in. So you people are saying, at least Mr. Soldier person here, people are saying it didn't work back in Nigeria.
It was an abuse. It was an abuse.
I would say
it straightened us out because it allowed us know that for every misadventure there is a consequence. But the consequence was koboko, and that was the end of the story. But what that made you do is there was that fear. You condition yourself. And remember, some of us or most of us now went to boarding house, and there was that same brutalization, right? Just recently, I saw a picture of picking pin, motorcycle, squatting, and frog jump.
Frog jump, yes.
That is an abuse. When they tell you to pick pin, all your legs and hands are shaking, you are dripping kata in your nose. I told you, I have people in the 80s that I worked with, Nigerians, who moved back to Nigeria at the same age, maybe 8, 9. I moved back when I was 6 months, so I was conditioned. I witnessed civil war. These people moved back with their NHS glasses, and they have never seen a pit latrine. And you put them in boarding house, straight from London into a pit latrine environment and washing their clothes by their hand. Because what happened, most of those newcomers in the 70s built houses in Agege, Iyano Ipaja.
Let me just add something. Kemi Badenoch said something that, clearly.
No, Kemi Badenoch did not suffer. Kemi Badenoch, she lived in Unilag. Her dad
went to Shagamu.
That's village.
She was making reference to when she went to LGC
Shagamu, yes.
But
that was normal. That was normal.
And she called it machete. It was not just
Kolas. Ojigbe that used to call grass.
She made it sound as if I think she was kind of exaggerating.
No, but you said something. You said they came all the way from.
It was traumatic for a lot of them. When their parents... No. When their Kemi grew up in Unilag. That's where her mom was a professor. So leave that by the lagoon. So she can live. I'm talking about people whose parents bought land and built the beginning of a boys' quarter in Ipaja. When Ipaja in 1983-84, your father has built a house here, right? The next house you are seeing, the lights. So it was convenient for them. That is 79, 80, 81, to put their children in boarding school because they, the parents, were struggling. Not financially, but finding their way. So a lot of JJCs ended up in boarding house. That's when they opened 5 government colleges in Lagos. Ikorodu, Ketu, Ekpe, Ojo, and the one in Surulere. So people were just pumping. You come from England, you put your children there. It was a good school. It was lovely. But when there's no water and toilet situation,
That's a shock to the system.
so these kids go home on holiday, they start chopping koboko. So a lot of them, when I came here, I saw a lot of them and they totally hated Nigeria. They will not eat Nigerian food. It traumatized them.
The experience they had.
Some of us are Daguda. We chop cane.
Well.
Well.
You came back,
I was 6 months, yeah.
but when you come back in November, 8, 9, 10, or secondary school age, where you've already experienced life, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into that deep end, it is a bit of a struggle. But I just want to throw this out there. We keep saying discipline in Nigeria is very good and all that. But if you moving away from childhood and then becoming an adult, if you look at the system now, they're very corrupt. And then if you look in the Western world where they don't flog and do that, they have a system where it's not as corrupt. So you're saying that the beating and the discipline in Nigeria, it does not kind of mold people to become better adults.
Better.
So what's the what I'm trying to understand what the you beat people in Nigeria, you beat them to till you think they blend something, but when they become an adult, when they become going into adulthood, all they do is steal money.
They still steal.
But the people they don't beat here in the UK, they're still going there, and then they have a charitable mindset.
Don't you think because of the society here, you won't compare with Nigeria? You know what I mean?
It depends on the family, the parents. If your father is a chief, of course, you will end up doing the same.
No, I disagree with you because
No.
I have a friend who is so disciplined and well cultured. The guys,
Madam misread.
the guy, I know he watching me, but now he's a good guy. Okay,
No mention.
So I don't believe that because some parents are, know, good, but they have one black sheep.
But I think I know 80% or 90% of the time, when your parents, you tend to follow that line. But at times they have the odd one or two here.
Yes.
But most of the time,
They always. Because if you are a good person and the way you bring up your child, it will reflect in your child who you are as well. And you don't need to be shouting or beating the child before they understand. All you need to do is sit them down and speak to them as an adult. Make them your friend. And they'll come home and tell you anything you want.
but there's also peer pressure as well.
There is.
Yes, especially in Nigeria.
So the reality is what I've learned about this country is your children, especially once they start growing up, be their best friend. For everything, explain to them why you're making this decision, why I'm taking your phone, why I have to sanction you, right? Just in my house, I have a 21 and an 18-year-old, and I keep telling them the rules of my house are the rules of my house. The law of the land says you are adults. So if you can't live by my rules,
Find the square root.
find your
That's why
square root.
within.
Just when we were coming back from Turkey, the day before yesterday, I said to them, please, whatever you do, make sure you don't go to central London on the 13th of September. They said to me, what's happening there? I said, it's Patriot March. Tommy Robinson and his crew are all over central London. Don't go anywhere there. The way the country is now, these people are watching you and you don't know what could happen to you. And Yeah, we had the debate, and I said that's the advice I would give you because nobody knows. There's a restaurant in Gansil yesterday was firebombed. People are sitting down eating, and these three guys walked in with face covers, poured petrol, and set it on fire.
UK.
In Gansil, just yesterday evening, 5 people got seriously injured, 3 are critical. So we don't know. There is a lot of tension in the country now. And I say to people, speak to your children. School starts next week or thereabouts. Some of these kids have to take the bus to work and to school or the train. Let them be self-aware. You don't need Koboko to make them self-aware. Just talk to them.
Okay.
It's simple.
Please, I need to go back to you see these knife issues and things like that in the UK.
Yeah.
I blame the parents. Okay, no, listen. If, like you said, if you talk to your children, discipline them, why would they still be, out there, gangs and things like that? It's really rampant in the UK. Yeah,
That's peer pressure. That's what peer pressure. You see,
now you as parents, don't sit them down.
You can't always get it right all the time. You do your best, and bearing in mind, a lot of these parents, they're not always at home.
Working 3 jobs a day.
People have to work. They make things so difficult for these people to survive that they have to go to work and God knows, ungodly hours, and they're not even at home. Most of the time now, we don't even have landlines at home. You call your child, so yeah, I'm at home. How do you know they're not at home?
Yeah, no
So
landline.
you don't
Video call. This is a video call. Don't tell me there's nothing.
They say they don't have network. So what I'm saying, I don't think you can solely blame the parents. I think you also blame the government as well. There's a lot of, because I do a lot of community work.
Because this knife,
There's nowhere for children to go to. Teenagers, women, there's nowhere for them to go to. But then to be honest, I think this gym thing is a blessing to this the young boys. If you go to, there's a lot of gyms open, and that's where they now spend a lot of their time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is something good. This community, we used to have community clubs and all that. They always
Not anymore. Right.
These boys don't have anywhere to go to. And then during the summer, the 7 weeks, what do you expect them to do? So to be honest, it is not, I think it's not fair to blame parents. Fair enough, parents will take their own share of this, but there's peer pressure as well. What the other people are doing outside, they don't want to do.
but I said so because these parents in Nigeria, hi. There was a time they asked me to call my dad. You know, you are dead. You get to that, you call the next day. When do you dream? When you are afraid to call?
But even
You see the figure of that.
You're not talking about different world.
So now your kids are going outside being gangs and things like that. So that's why you saw to that.
so
You talk to them. Just scared. I won't be happy.
And
I that won't be happy.
the problem is, you talked about spare the rod and what was it? Right.
Yeah.
Now, the fact of the matter is, from you have children, especially male children, be in touch with them. Know what they're doing, know who their friends are. I don't know if you've heard about the chip shop trap. That's how they entrap you into gangsterism. So your child closes school at 3:30 at the age of 12, 13, 14. It's your duty to find out at that time is your child at home, not hanging outside a chip shop. And it is a deliberate everyday effort, whether you are in the office or not. You need to find out. That is a start. You need to find out who your child's friends are. Because of the kind of work I do, I have seen 14, 15, 16-year-old kids in trauma from stabbing. But when you go down it, there was one on a Sunday. His father is a pastor, his mother is a pastor. Came back from school and from church with them and said he just wants to ride his bicycle. What was he going to do? He was going to deliver drugs. But the person who delivered, who normally has that patch, had caused trouble the day before.
They were just blindly going into.
So he went, thinking he's going to earn money. He was shot point blank in front of a children's playground, right in front of kids playing. Now, when we were speaking to the police officers, they say His parents did not even know he had been to court 3 times.
How old is it?
16.
I think I blame the parents. These are
They're busy with church. He had been to court 3 times and they did not know. As far as they're concerned, he's a good boy. It's when we spoke to the police officer who virtually packed his brain off his hoodie because he was showing blank range. And at the end of the day, it's about responsibility. So these things happen because you take your eye off the ball. Most of these kids come from very respectable homes. To be honest, they are not abused at home. There is nothing. But when you see your child come into the house with the 600 pounds trainers and you don't ask that question, then you have a responsibility that you're not doing. It's very simple.
That's what I agree with you there. And in terms of the cheap shop, when
Grooming, that's where the grooming starts.
when they all close from school, if you don't know where they are, they're hanging around cheap
shop.
And they haven't got any money to buy them. So somebody buys them cheap and then buys those up.
Yeah.
And then it says, oh, this is my friend. And then the next thing they're asking you to just deliver to somebody. And probably they don't even know what's in there.
No, the way the cheap shop trick works is it comes and it buys you £1.50 today. Now it becomes an elder. Then after a while, it tells you owe him £40, which you cannot pay because you don't have. Then you have to run an errand for him. That's how you go missing from home. That's how you are not involved in county lines. Then you're gone. Your parents have lost control. They don't know where you are. So
it's at the end of this, I don't think we can solely blame this on parents. It's easy for us to say, bad parenting and all that. But it's a very, very difficult situation.
It's still not about parenting. It's more about parenting itself. Because these children, they didn't ask to be born. When you bring them into this world, you must make sure that you can provide for them.
Yeah.
We come to this country working to pay jobs because we have to pay bills. It's not like that back home in Nigeria. You have your sisters, everybody looking after your child. But now when you come here, especially I feel sorry for all these Japan.
Oh God.
No, that's a topic for that.
They leave the children in the house, they lock the door, they lock the children up, they go to work. Things like that, And before you know it, the children start doing whatever. And I think the school can maybe contribute to this as well. Like the school my daughter went to, they finished at prefecture. If their parents are not at home, which you have to sign for, they stay till at the school till 6.
Yeah.
And they feed them at 6 o'clock.
And you pay for it?
No, we don't.
No, it's free.
So that's a good school. That's a good school.
Yeah. So they eat there at 6 and then they go back home.
Problem is Barnet Council is a bit affluent. They are living in Finchley. This is Thamesmead.
No council can afford to do that.
This is Thamesmead. That doesn't happen.
Thank you very much. End of it. Dr. Oloye, Roundtable Rendezvous. I want to thank for my guests, panelists. This man really did a good job with research. I'm still going to have that. So a big thank you, Miss Madeleke, Toria, Jonathan, Tabut, Junko. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes, sir. Until next time, Oloye, bye for now.